Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you've all gotten a chance to fight that war against the Grey. Today we're going to be doing another video in our Start Collecting series, a series where we are looking at the various Start Collecting boxes in Age of Sigmar and having a bit of a chat about the contents of them and how they help build the foundations of an army, and then looking at how to expand upon these foundations in the future to create cool and thematic armies representative of what the Start Collecting box has started us off on. Today we've got another video, and this one is thanks to one of our Facebook followers, and they have requested that we do the Skaven Pestilens Start Collecting box. This is the only Start Collecting box available for the Skaven army, and for those who don't know, Skaven is actually split up into a large amount of different clans. This particular box focuses on one of these clans called Skaven Pestilens clan. We will be focusing primarily on how to build up a Pestilens army from the ground up with using this Start Collecting box. So let's take a look at what is inside this box. To start off with, on the right there you can see that giant archway and the wrecking ball, sort of that platform thing, and that is a plague furnace. This kit can also be built as a screaming bell, which replaces the giant wrecking ball with a bell and the plague priest on it with a grey seer. However, we'll be looking at using the plague furnace in this video, and it is the recommended model I suggest. So with this, you gain a priest for your army that works as a great centerpiece model and also a great sort of centerpiece for your battle line. The one downside of this model is that it does need models to drag it around for battle, so you need to keep it near the units in your army where they will drag it into battle. It can do some devastating damage in combat, and its prayers can affect both enemies and foe alike. And while I'm there, let's mention the plague monks. These are the rats, or the ratmen in fact, that you can see around the base, and you get 20 of these in this box. Plague monks don't have much in the way of defense, but they do have quite considerable offense and are a great attacking unit when buffed up with all those prayers that you can get from the plague priest. There's a few different weapon loadouts, and really it's sort of your choice to see which one you prefer over the other. They both have their benefits and their drawbacks, but there's not really a wrong option to choose. The last model we see in this Start Collecting box is the catapult in the back, the Plague Claw catapult. It can also be built as a warp lightning cannon, which is a giant cannon that shoots magical lightning, and that sounds awesome. But we're going to look at the Plague Claw catapult, and I'll get why in a sec. The Plague Claw catapult is mainly used for targeting larger enemy units and does some mortal wounds. And it also does some nice bravery debuff as well. So I'm going to explain why we're not looking at the warp lightning cannon. So Skaven have an interesting mechanic in their army where, in order to have Clan Pestilens battle line and Clan Pestilens and all that sort of stuff, you need to have all units in your army either be from the clan in question or master clan. So this means we can't include the warp lightning cannon in the army, otherwise these plague monks will no longer be battle line, and that doesn't serve us very well in the future. So it is really heavily suggested that you build the Plague Claw catapult for this box set to begin with. However, the alternative for the Plague Furnace is the Screaming Bell, and the Screaming Bell is actually a Master Clan unit, so you do have the option on which variation you'd like to build. I do recommend the Plague Furnace though, as it's just more thematic and fits a lot better with the army in general. But where do we go from here for Skaven? So there's so much to unpack with Skaven. They have such a large battle tome and so many different options. We're going to start though with, let's look at the terrain and the endless spells. So the terrain is something I would recommend buying almost immediately, as it allows your Skaven to teleport around the battlefield. It's also arcane terrain, so if you have built the Grey Seer on Screaming Bell, you'll be getting some nice bonuses to cast as well. The other thing there is the endless spells. Now I would only suggest buying these early on if you've got a wizard already put into your army. So if you did build the Grey Seer on the Screaming Bell, the endless spells are definitely a look in, but if you built the Plague Furnace, you can probably hold off on buying these until you put a wizard into your army. Let's look at models though, and so the first one I've got here is a Plague Priest. He is just a generic Plague Priest, much like the dude who's mounted atop your Plague Furnace, and he sits on his own 2 feet. He's an unmounted Plague Priest and just a cool little buff piece you can use around your army. It's a really nice model as well, and I really think you can go to town on some really cool woodwork and a bit of like freehand doing some text in that cool little book he's holding there. But he's just another buff piece to add into the army. The next thing we're going to look at is the unit to his right, and that is the Plague Sensibearers. These are plague monks that wield giant plague flails that swing around, causing noxious gas to fill their enemies' lungs. They do some mortal wounds during the combat phase, and they're a little bit more damagey than the plague monks in general, but they do cost a lot more points. However, they're really cool models, and they'll help break up that sort of plague monk core that you're going to have in the army. Speaking of plague monks, while we're here as well, it's worth mentioning that it's probably recommended that you pick up another couple of boxes of plague monks to begin with. This will fill out your battle line all the way up to 2,000 points and give you a solid core to build the rest of your army upon. The third model we're going to look at here, and this can be built in so many different ways, is the Vermin Lord kit. Now, while the Vermin Lord Corruptor is probably the most thematic fit to the army, you can actually include any of these Vermin Lords without fear of breaking your allegiance, because they are all Master Clan. So you have many different ones. There's a cool assassin one, there's a cool sort of wizardy one, there's a named character called Screech Vermin King, and there's just a bunch of different cool ones. This is a really interesting kit, and also this adds a wizard into your army. So if you do build the Grey Seer, then you can purchase the endless spells to go along with this model. It's a really fun thing to have in the army. It's also probably the biggest model you're going to get, so it's a great centerpiece. It's also worth noting that this model is actually really good to pick up if you have built the Screaming Bell as your starting piece. Mainly because if the Screaming Bell rolls well enough on its Deathly Toll ability, you can actually summon a Vermin Lord for free. And if you're playing Path to Glory, there's the potential to gain one for free as well. So both cool reasons to have a Vermin Lord always hanging around with your Skaven collection. The last thing I'm going to talk about is, this might sound boring, but clan rats. And we'll talk a little bit about why clan rats as well. So clan rats are the stock standard battle line for all Skaven. So I know what I've said is that these aren't Clan Pestilens and they're not Master Clans, so they will break your allegiance. But the reason we're doing this is to allow you now to further explore the Skaven battle tome. Purchasing a couple, 2 or 3 of these boxes of clan rats will enable you to have battle line requirements filled and allow you to explore other avenues of Skaven army. You should have by this point like a decent sized Pestilence force, and so now some clan rats will allow you to explore other parts of the Skaven army. You could also substitute Skaven clan rats for potentially purchasing Night Runners, so you can go look at the Ishan stuff, or Shry Acolytes and Storm Fiends to go look at Clan Shry stuff, or even some giant rats to go look at Clan Moulder. Skaven has a variety of different armies you can do, and they're all quite cool. Storm Vermin are also another battle line option, and they're heavily armed elite Skaven infantry. They're really fantastic models and some of my favourite models around in Age of Sigmar at the moment. There's also some generic characters you can purchase, like the Grey Seer on foot, Skaven Claw Lords as well, another cool character, and there's a few models out there for them. You can find them all in different places. Go have a look on like eBay trying to look at some models at some really great older sculpts of Skaven Claw Lords. But that's all I want to say about Skaven for now. I want to know what you guys think of Skaven, and if you've got any more questions about Skaven, leave them in the comments down below. They're a really, really unique army and a really cool army as well that you can just do so much with. Pestilence is a great way to get started in them, but once you've got those clan rats at the end there, you can start expanding and looking into so many different sort of armies, and each plays so differently. Skaven Pestilence is very combat and buff focused. We've got much more shooting in Shry. You've got the sneaky shenanigans of Ishan, and you get cool monstrous beasts from Moulder. And then you can have like a generic clan army with some clan rats as your battle line, and just mix and match whatever you want, which is the coolest part about Skaven. You can play Skaven how you want, which is great. But enough rambling. Thanks to everyone for watching. I hope this has been helpful for anyone looking to get this box or anyone looking to get into Skaven as a starting army. But don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers now. It's amazing. Thank you everyone for your support. You can also, in the links below, there will be a link to our Discord channel of which you can come join and chat about anything. I'm on there most of the time at the moment, as unfortunately I'm out of work at the moment, but that'll be what it'll be. I'm in there. There's a great community in there. You can come chat on our Discord. And last of all, don't forget everyone to stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now, everyone.